Why aren't people buying from your webinar? You spent all this time preparing for the webinar. You thought it was going to be great. You had some people show up, but nobody ended up buying anything, right? So here's the 5 bottlenecks you need to solve to make sure you have 6-figure webinars. We're going to start from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel. The top of the funnel is total registrants. The second KPI is show rate. The third one is conversion rate. And the fourth one is close rate. Now, total registrants. You want at least about 100 people registered for the webinar. If you don't have that, you need to run ads to it. You need people to help you push the webinar, whether it's promoting it to their email list, having other people with followings push your webinar, and just pushing it in organically in groups, or doing whatever it takes to get people registered for the webinar. For some of our clients who do webinars aggressively, we have people, even 1,000 people registered. But if you're just starting off, you want 100 people registered for the webinar. Show rate, you want at least about 30% of people who registered for the webinar show up for the webinar. So there's 2 call to actions possible. You can drop 2 types of links. You could drop a link to a direct checkout so they could buy something directly, or you could drop a link so they can schedule a call on your or your salesperson's calendar. For a direct checkout, you want at least 10% of the people just directly checking out of the people that showed. For people booking sales calls, you want at least 20% of the people that showed up for the webinar booking a sales call. If you're getting people on sales calls, you want at least 25% of people who jump on calls with you to close and sign up for your program. So let's go through each of these bottlenecks. So if you're not happy with the total number of registrants and you're not nowhere near, you're getting a meager number of signups, you need to play a little bit of a volume game, numbers game here. You need at least 100 people registered. Second, if you're not having at least 30% of the people registered show up for your webinar, it means you're either hitting the wrong audience or the promise of the webinar isn't strong enough to show up. Usually, the quickest way to solve that is to just niche down in your messaging for the webinar. Make it very specific to avatar or have some big promise attached to the webinar. Conversion rate, close rates, pretty straightforward. The 2 biggest problems people have in a webinar funnel is they can't get enough people registered and they can't get enough people to show up. This is how you solve the bottleneck. Go ahead and crush that next webinar, guys.